Arjun was a bright boy, known for his sharp mind and intelligence. His teachers praised him, and his parents always believed he had a great future ahead. But despite his brilliance, Arjun had one major flaw. He never valued time. His days slipped away in endless games on his phone, aimless chatter with friends, and hours of leisure that served no purpose. Whenever his parents tried to explain the importance of time, he would shrug it off, thinking, "I have plenty of time. I'll do it later. For now, let me enjoy life." But time had its own way of teaching lessons. When the annual exam results were announced, Arjun was in for a shock. His scores were far below average, far worse than anyone expected. The same teachers who once praised him now shook their heads in disappointment. Even his friends who once admired his intelligence began to drift away. That evening, as he walked home, he felt a heavy weight in his chest. His parents' silent, disappointed expressions as they looked at his report card stung more than any words could. Frustration and regret swirled inside him, but he didn't know how to change. That night, feeling lost, he went to his grandfather, the wisest elder in their village. Sitting beside him, Arjun let out his frustrations. "Grandpa, I don't understand. I've always been a good student. Why did I fail this time?" His grandfather listened patiently and then gave him a knowing smile. "My son, your intelligence was never the problem. The real issue is that you have taken time for granted. Time is the most valuable treasure one can have. If used wisely, it will take you to great heights, but if wasted, it will only lead to regret." Arjun frowned. "But, Grandpa, we always have time, don't we? If not today, I can always do things later." His grandfather's expression turned serious. "No, my child, time is like a river. It flows in one direction and never comes back. Let me tell you a story that might help you understand." And so he began. Many years ago, there was a powerful king named Vikram. He had immense wealth, magnificent palaces, and an army that could defeat any enemy. But despite all his riches, Vikram had one fatal flaw. He wasted his time. He would wake up late, ignore important matters, and spend his days in leisure, always saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." One day, a wise sage visited the king's court and said, "Your Majesty, you possess everything a man could dream of, yet you are squandering your most precious treasure, time. If you do not change, you will live to regret it." The king laughed at the sage's words. "Regret? I have plenty of time. I can do whatever I want whenever I want." The sage simply shook his head. "Do not underestimate time, Your Majesty. It is more powerful than any king. If you do not respect it, it will slip away before you realize it." But Vikram paid no heed to the warning. He continued delaying his duties, believing he had all the time in the world. Years passed. The king grew older, his health declined, and his once mighty kingdom began to crumble. His soldiers lost battles, his people lost faith in him, and his enemies grew stronger. Desperate, he tried to find the sage to seek his wisdom, but the sage had long disappeared. By the time the king finally understood the value of time, it was too late. No wealth, no power, nothing could bring back the years he had wasted. He was left with nothing but regret. As Arjun listened to the story, he felt something shift inside him. The truth was clear. He had been just like King Vikram, thinking there would always be time, only to realize he had been wasting it all along. With determination in his eyes, he turned to his grandfather. "Grandpa, is it too late for me? Can I still change my life?" His grandfather smiled and placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Of course, my son. The wheel of time never stops. But as long as you make the right choices today, you can shape your future. The key is simple. Never postpone what can be done now. Start today, and success will follow." That night, Arjun made a promise to himself. He created a daily routine, waking up early, focusing on his studies, and cutting out distractions. It wasn't easy, but he remained committed. Over time, his efforts bore fruit. In the next exams, he not only passed, but topped his class. His teachers were once again proud of him, his friends admired his discipline, and his parents' eyes shone with pride. Years later, Arjun became a successful businessman, inspiring many with his story. He had learned the most important lesson of life. Time is the greatest treasure, and those who use it wisely are the ones who truly succeed.